Tonight, new video just coming into our newsroom of an airborne collision, a plane crashing into a police helicopter. The two aircraft colliding just above a Pennsylvania airport. The pilot of the plane killed. Those on board the chopper somehow surviving. What the NTSB revealed just moments ago. Also breaking tonight, the suspected tornadoes firing up across the Northeast right now as floodwaters strand cars and wash out roads in the Midwest. And the wild moment these windows are blown out by a thunderstorm in the South. The FBI searching former Congressman Eric Swalwell's home and seizing his devices at the airport. Is this federal investigation linked to those sexual misconduct allegations? Plus, the alleged terror plot. The FBI says these images show a woman planning to bomb the New York State Capitol. The stunning one-on-one, President Trump and Michael Cohen together again? The loyalist turned enemy who helped convict him. So why are they back together? A major update in Hayden Panettiere's sudden death. The DEA now stepping in. New troubling evidence in the case of Carmelo Anthony, the teen convicted of killing another teen at a high school track meet. The disturbing text he sent before the murder to his ex-girlfriend, fantasizing about stabbing someone. Suspect unmasked. New video of the man accused of terrorizing people in Philadelphia with this twisted costume now identified. The Amazon drone delivery making a splash in the wrong way as the retailer expands aerial deliveries to 500 cities and towns. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Llamas.
And good evening. We thank you for joining us on this Thursday night. We begin with that deadly accident in Pennsylvania and the video that just came in. You can see it right here, a Pennsylvania State Police helicopter hovering just above the ground there when a small plane smashes directly into it. The pilot of that plane was killed, but somehow the passengers in the helicopter survived. Those passengers, a corporal and a trooper, were trapped inside the wreckage before they were able to escape. And just as we were coming on the air, the NTSB revealing new details about this crash. Erin McLaughlin has the latest, and she starts us off tonight.
Tonight's stunning new video shows the moment a small plane crashed into a state police helicopter, killing the plane's pilot and injuring two Pennsylvania state troopers. In the video, you see the helicopter hovering feet above the ground near the runway. The Cessna 150 suddenly veers to the right, slamming into the chopper from behind.
The helicopter is to be smoking.
Images from the scene show the plane shattered to pieces, the helicopter on its side.
I have no information at all to tell me either pilot of either vehicle was at fault. We are very early in the investigation to determine that.
Officials say Corporal Bryce Corman and Trooper Jason Mills were initially trapped inside the chopper, but made a harrowing escape.
The corporal was in a position to push out a window and assist the trooper who he believed had some more serious injuries, and got both of them out of the helicopter.
It happened at the Carlisle Regional Airport just before 7 p.m. on Wednesday. State police say the troopers were out on a routine training exercise as the Cessna attempted to land on the adjacent runway. The pilot of the Cessna, identified as 57-year-old Paul Sokolowski, was killed in the crash. Tonight, officials say they still do not know why the Cessna missed the runway. The NTSB is investigating.
And Aaron, we're learning more about the pilot who died. He was an ER doctor?
That's right, Tom. Officials say Paul Sokolowski was an emergency doctor at Penn State Medical Center, the very same hospital responsible for treating those two injured state troopers. Both are expected to make a full recovery. Tom?
Erin McLaughlin leading us off. We are also tracking the dangerous storms and possible tornadoes slamming the Northeast. Angie Lassman reports from Brooklyn, New York, which is getting the worst of it right now.
Tonight, tens of millions across the Northeast anxiously watching the skies. Dangerous storms now on the move. This funnel cloud spotted west of Baltimore. And west of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, this building torn apart in the storm's wake. Tornado warnings in Atlantic County, New Jersey.
You should be in an interior bathroom, closet. Bring a pillow, bring a blanket, cover yourself. You should be in a basement if you have it.
This time lapse showing the system rolling into Manhattan.
The heavy rain just picking up here in New York as the National Weather Service issues a flash flood warning for the area, with the heaviest of the rain still on the way.
The storm's delaying multiple games at the Little League Baseball World Series tournament in Pennsylvania. In Ohio, floodwaters overtaking roadways outside Columbus, stranding vehicles. Some neighborhoods like this one completely underwater. More than 4 inches of rain falling in some areas. Outside Chicago, crews in northwest Indiana racing to restore power to more than 60,000 still in the dark, more than a week after severe weather tore through there. And in southeast Alabama, watch as powerful winds from a rogue thunderstorm blow out the windows of this home.
Angie Lastman joins us now live. And Angie, we can see you're still very much in the middle of it there in Brooklyn. And these threats extending well into the evening?
That's exactly right, Tom. You can tell it's raining so heavily here. You can barely make out the skyline of New York City behind me. This area under a flash flood warning now. And if you take a look at the maps, severe thunderstorm watches and tornado watches up and down the coast from New York to North Carolina through 10 p.m. Needless to say, a very long evening ahead. Tom?
Angie Lastman for us. Angie, thank you. We have new reporting tonight on the FBI raiding the home of former Congressman Eric Swalwell and seizing his devices from him at the airport. Our Ryan Nobles reports the investigation may be linked to the sexual misconduct allegations that forced him to resign.
Tonight, more trouble for embattled former Congressman Eric Swalwell. The FBI executing a search warrant as he arrived at a San Francisco airport on Saturday, seizing electronic devices, including his cell phone. His home in Washington, D.C. also searched the following day as part of the ongoing investigation into sexual misconduct allegations. That, according to a person familiar with the matter. The FBI and Attorney General Todd Blanche declining to comment.
I'm not allowed to talk about any sort of ongoing investigation. It's certainly not what role I played in it. So, yeah, I can't comment on that.
Swalwell was a leading candidate for governor of California until multiple women accused him of sexual assault or misconduct.
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. They are absolutely false.
One of the women included Lana Drews, who said he drug, raped, and choked her in 2018.
I believe he drugged my drink. I only had 1 glass of wine. He raped me. And he choked me.
In a statement today, Drews' attorney says that she's not spoken to the FBI, but is encouraged to learn about the escalation in their apparent investigation. NBC News has reached out to Swalwell's legal team, but have not heard back yet. But earlier this year, Swalwell's attorney categorically denied every allegation, calling them, quote, false, fabricated, and deeply offensive. Swalwell abandoned his race for governor and eventually resigned his seat in Congress. Tonight, NBC News has confirmed Democrat State Senator Aisha Wahab will fill his seat until January.
And Ryan, it doesn't end there. There is new information tonight about Swalwell's relationship with a purported Chinese spy.
Yes, Tom, the White House released previously classified documents that show that Swalwell admitted to having an intimate relationship with the woman who was then deported after being accused of being a spy. However, he was investigated by both the House Ethics Committee and the Department of Justice, and they found no wrongdoing. Tom?
Ryan, thank you. Also tonight in New York, the FBI says they stopped an alleged ISIS-inspired terror attack. The suspect plotting to target the state Capitol building. Sam Brock picks it up from there.
These are the images of the woman federal prosecutors say planned to detonate a bomb at the New York State Capitol, wearing all black clothing covering her face. The government says 35-year-old Jessica Bowie was surveilling the building in July here and later seen at a Home Depot in early August, buying materials including a large bin of nails for an explosive device that undercover agents pretended to assemble for her before meeting with Bowie and arresting the suspect for supporting terrorism.
Make no mistake about it. Miss Bowie's alleged plot was serious.
According to a charging document, Bowie converted to Islam 5 years ago using the name Aisha Saif, but started making threatening anti-American posts on social media in recent months, including "Praise be to Allah" for September 11th.
Miss Bowie swore her allegiance to ISIS through multiple audio recordings.
That prompted undercover FBI agents to exchange messages with Bowie, who they say plan to use a delivery DoorDash bag to transport the explosive device, telling them in writing, "I want to destroy as much of the building as possible and kill the senators while they're meeting." Bowie has not yet entered a plea, but according to the document, told authorities she knew about the possible terrorism charges. "I already Googled it before. I know I'm going to jail." Sam Brock, NBC News, New York.
And we have a major update tonight in the death of actress Hayden Panettiere. A source telling NBC News the DEA has officially joined the investigation now. Steve Patterson joins us. And Steve, what more can you tell us?
Tom, we're told that the DEA has assigned multiple federal agents to the case, though it's unclear what role they will play. This, of course, doesn't necessarily mean there's a criminal investigation, but it does suggest they're taking a closer look at whether drugs may have been involved. It comes after an incident report obtained by NBC News revealed Panettiere's was on-again, off-again boyfriend by Brian Hickerson showed police at the scene a bag of medication that he said she was taking. Meanwhile, tonight, Hickerson's attorney telling NBC News the investigation should be allowed to proceed, while also pointing out that police have stated there were no signs of foul play here. Tom?
Steve, thank you. Now to the manhunt for the 22-year-old masked man who police say terrorized Philadelphia wearing a mask straight out of a horror movie. Our Emily Aketa with how police think they know who's behind it.
Tonight, new video of the masked man accused of harassing and antagonizing pedestrians in Philadelphia. You can see him lurking in this Dunkin' Donuts. Officials today identifying the suspect, who wore a chilling Halloween-style mask, as 22-year-old Zymir Hughes, and asking for the public's help. They warn he may have fled Pennsylvania 2 nights ago and note that he has ties to California and Nevada.
You think it's funny to scare people? Well, get ready to get scared by us.
Hughes, on probation for another crime, is now wanted for assault and other charges for allegedly chasing at least 15 people near City Hall, asking this jogger repeatedly, "Are you ready to die?" according to police, before continuing inside a train station where he evaded officers. Investigators believe he recorded himself along the way and was doing this, quote, purely for social media content. Emily Ikeda, NBC News.
And this is also developing tonight, a stunning political reunion. President Trump and Michael Cohen reuniting on a radio show after a very public, very bitter feud that led to prison time. Monica Alba explains.
Tonight, a shocking political reunion. President Trump and his former fixer, Michael Cohen, back together after years as bitter enemies.
Mr. President.
Hello, Michael.
Cohen now hosting the president on his new radio show, a man he once praised as
generous, compassionate, principled, empathetic, kind, humble, honest, and genuine.
Even telling Vanity Fair in 2017 he would, quote, take a bullet for the president.
Michael Cohen is a very talented lawyer.
But their relationship soured as Cohen faced intense scrutiny from federal investigators, with the FBI raiding his office and hotel room and seizing multiple devices and documents in 2018, leading to prison time after Cohen pled guilty to tax evasion, bank fraud, and campaign finance violations. Cohen later turning on his former boss before Congress.
He is a racist. He is a con man, and he is a cheat.
Mr. Trump firing back.
This sleazebag named Michael Cohen.
Repeatedly calling Cohen a rat.
He's convicted. He's a liar. He's defrauded at a high level.
In 2024, the former attorney served as a star witness in the hush money case against the president, who was convicted of falsifying business records related to paying porn star Stormy Daniels. After years of blistering attacks, Cohen saying the reason they can reconcile now is simple.
Forgiveness does not require amnesia.
Monica Alba, NBC News, the White House.
When we return in 60 seconds, splashdown, the drone delivery gone hilariously wrong, but now the future is up in the air with Amazon set to expand aerial deliveries to more than 500 cities. Plus, the cars colliding on the streets of New York, setting a pedestrian flying, how he survived. Stay with us. We are back now with new evidence of the case of a teen convicted of murder at a high school track meet. A warning, the details are graphic. Carmelo Anthony is appealing his conviction for stabbing Austin Metcalf to death. Prosecutors today sharing never-before-seen texts revealing that Anthony allegedly fantasized about stabbing someone and licking the blood from the blade. Those was in the text. Anthony's defense team also introducing evidence that the victim, Austin Metcalf, had been on probation for racist graffiti. And take a look at this. A Mercedes coming speeding down a road in Manhattan, New York City, when a Corvette slams into it and they all go flying. This is wild. You can look at it from another angle as well. They hit a pedestrian who sustained a broken leg but is expected to be okay. Police are searching for the people in that Mercedes still tonight. And an encounter a little close for comfort in a man's house in New Mexico who somehow shot this video and did not freak out. A black bear right there trying to get out through his front door. The two come face to face in the family room as the bear checks out the kitchen as well. Later, it somehow gets stuck in this pen outside the house, but it all ended well. The bear eventually went back into the woods. All right, that's Nightly News for this Thursday. I'm Tom Llamas. Thanks so much for watching. Tonight and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.